All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Zee Franchise Happy Hour. I'm very excited to have two of my closest friends on the episode with us tonight, Matt Siebert and Sean Collins, who will introduce themselves here in just a second. But tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about overcoming challenges as a business owner and how to make adjustments and work through things with your team as your business evolves and grows. And so that'll be what we really dive into here in a little bit. But to kick us off, I'll ask Matt and Sean to introduce themselves. So Matt, tell us a little bit about what you did before you started your franchise and also what you are drinking this evening.
Yes. So before painting, I was, I started out as an accountant and in finance. I did that for the first part of my career. And then I went on to a medical supplies company where I did a lot of supply chain operations, type stuff. We were a nationwide company and had 10 distribution centers. So always a lot going on there. We ended up being sold several different times. Ultimately, we sold to a big company called Cardinal Health. And I stayed for a little while, a year after the sale, and then I was ready to do something different, and I left the company to figure out what that was, and now that led me here to CertaPro Painters. I am drinking, the first time I've ever had it, Blue Chain Bay Coconut Spiced Rum Cream, which is delicious.
Awesome. And I believe, Matt, we sent that to you via a website called drizzly.com.
Yep.
And it came from one of your local stores there.
It did. A store called Corkscrew Johnny's. I will say, I think I told them what, confirmed the order at 2 o'clock, and it was here by 4:30. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed.
Worked out well. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Sean, what are you drinking, and what did you do before you bought your franchise?
Yeah, so I'd like to start off by just proposing this question. Did you say we were friends, Calvin, at first? Some of your closest friends?
Yes, I hope so, Sean.
Okay,
if not,
all right, thanks.
Maybe I need to drink a little bit more tonight.
So this evening, I'm partaking in the beverage Woodford Reserve with a little bit of splash of Coca-Cola. I'm normally a Jack guy, but the Woodford Reserve is starting to take a liking to me, and so we're becoming very, very good buddies. Prior to becoming the franchise owner with CertaPro Painter, I was a logistics officer in the United States Army, and as what we call a multifunctional logistician, 1 year you may be responsible for maintenance management, transportation, medical, supply management, ammunition management, and one of my last jobs, I was assigned as an ammunition officer, where I was charged with providing ammunition and large munitions to the war in Iraq.
Awesome. Yeah, Woodford's a good one, Sean. And I do think we are friends, Sean, whether you tell
Okay, I just want you say it real good, friends. I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly.
Awesome.
So what are we going to talk about again, Calvin?
Yeah, so we'll talk about a few things here. So before we get started, I am drinking my favorite Gentleman Jack, and even though Sean said I started this today, I did not. It was in my cabinet, and I brought it from the office. So so we'll dive into some topics here. Again, this should be very conversational, back and forth. Doesn't need to be kind of a one-sided or a speech type of thing. We want to have a lively discussion and be very transparent here. Before we get into our actual topics for the night, let's talk a little bit about why we got into franchising, right? Like what made us decide to buy a franchise, and why did we decide the brand that we bought? Sean, you want to go first and tell us a little bit about what drove that decision?
Sure. So, I'll tell you this here. When I got out the military, I initially saw myself going into corporate America for a while, but I told myself I was going to think about this for about a year or so before I get back out into the workforce. And an opportunity came about for me to own my own business, someone approached me and told me they thought I had the skill sets to become a business owner, and I've always tinkered around with it. And when this opportunity came about, I met the CEO of the company. He explained to me and my wife, how things work within the CertaPro family. He explained to me some of the responsibilities that I would have as a franchise owner. The culture was nice. The culture was great. It sounded well, and it is well. So again, it was an opportunity for me to build something of my own, to scale it as large as I want, but also would afford me the opportunity to control my own time, my own clock, to give back as I see. And here at the second half of my life, I like that tempo, being able to control my own clock as opposed to punching a 9 to 5. So it's turning out to be a very great experience. We're still growing. It's a lot of fun. Just like with any business, it comes with challenges, but overall, it's a good thing.
Awesome. Matt, what about you? Why did you decide to buy a franchise, and why did you buy CertaPro?
Yeah, so when I left my job, I had it in my mind that I wanted to do something on my own, but I was going to pursue another path. I thought there were small little manufacturing companies around every corner, and I just was so busy working in the corporate world that I had no time to really get out there and look and uncover anything. So I was sure I would find what I was looking for, and it wasn't the case. I looked at several businesses, no manufacturing companies. That the best business I looked at was actually a wine distributor, and which sounded cool. It was kind of a cool business. And then I looked at the financials and heard them talk about working like 16 hours a day, and that's not quite what I had in mind. So that led me to taking a look at franchising. And so I took a look at 6 different franchises, not knowing what to expect. 5 of them I didn't really care for, but CertaPro Painters, just, I don't know. I think it was like Sean said, the culture of CertaPro really kind of drew me in, and ironically, that was the one when I was first presented with different franchise models. I wanted no part of painting. Could never dream of myself doing painting, but after going through some due diligence, which I'd committed to do, I was really impressed. Really positive and energy, growing company, an opportunity to really do whatever you wanted with it. No real limit, which you can get in some models, which is good for some people, but just wasn't good for me. So after learning more about it and going and meeting some of the people, talking to other franchisees, just felt right, and I took the leap.
I'll tell you this, Kelvin. I don't know if you know this or if you remember this, but Matt and I were looking at CertaPro at the exact same time. So we did a tour of the corporate headquarters together. We went down and went to Philly and climbed the wall where Rocky once stood. I believe Matt had a boot on his foot at the time, so he would always tell me, he would always tell me, "Hey, Sean, slow down for a while. Let me catch up." And but yeah, that was good times.
Yeah. Well, Sean, you were the guy that I had met. Like, no way he's going to make it. First off, no way he's going to be selected, and no way he's going to make it. I'm shocked that you're sitting here today.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's one of the reasons we end up buying the brand, but we stay in brands, right? Is the people. It's not just the franchisor; it's the other franchisees, right? And,
yeah, for sure.
Even though
I'm serious. Sean and I, we've known each other 6 or 7 years now, and you too, Calvin. I mean, all of us. It's other people going through the same things. Same business. It's those relationships are really important.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit here, guys, about particularly the last 16 months or so, but knowing each of you and knowing your business cycle and the growth that you both have had, let's have an open conversation about what our biggest challenges have been, and kind of what you did to adjust as business owners and franchise owners to get through those, and did you come out better or worse for it?
Well, for me, it just seems like I think everything centers around people, and whether it's people within the business or how I may be leading people, because it's a little different. In the corporate world, at least the companies I was part of, there was a structure that was already kind of set, and there's a culture that's set, and when you go out on your own, you've got to create that. You've got to create that culture, and then you've got to cultivate it. And for me, I am one of my, in that type of environment, in a structured environment, I think one of my strengths always was I was empathetic. I wasn't the kind of guy who would just say, I don't care, go and do it and get it done. I was always the guy who said, okay, this is what you got to do. How can I help you? Like, how are we going to do this? Instead of, making, and, if you're not careful, people can take advantage of that. And that's certainly something that I've experienced. And I'm still working to overcome. I think I've been woken up a little bit over the years, and certainly have had to become maybe a little harsher in my, how I handle things. Although those who know me know that that's not the word to describe me. Harsh is certainly not my style. But I just had to be a little bit more demanding of some of my people. But then it comes down to you have to have the right people in the organization. And for us, being a painting business, that starts with our core team, but you follow closely, and who knows, maybe actually it's more important to have people out there painting for you who you feel great about representing your company. And in the painting field, there are a lot of great people, but there are a lot of not so great people. And so really being able to sift through and find those that you want to be associated with you, and who you'd want out there representing you. It takes time and effort, and it's something that we continue to. We spend more time doing that on the people side than anything else in our business right now. It's all about about the people.
Sean, what about you?
Yeah, something along the same lines as Matt talked about with people, but I would call it, staff development. And I said it because, as you guys already know, there are a lot of successful, franchisees in this business, and guys that are doing very well and have done very well, and you want to emulate that day one, and it takes time. You have to develop your team, build a culture, gain their confidence. Unlike when I was in the military, everyone around you, or 90% of the people around you were, as we would say, gung ho, was ready to take the hill. Well, here, on this side of the fence, you got to convince people that your product, your systems, your ways is a good way, but with time we will get there. And so and a lot of people are not patient. A lot of, with time right now, the times that we're in, everyone wants an answer at the click of a button. And it doesn't just happen like that. And so, I've had to develop some patience also, because, again, where I came from for the last 25 years, you gave a directive or a mission, and people execute. There is no questions. Maybe some clarity, but not question your decision. So. So staff development has been a challenge, and then I would be remiss not to say labor support has also been a challenge. what we do is a skill, and finding the right people to execute that to a high standard has and it has been a challenge. So that's something that we're working on, and we'll continue to work through. But again, with time and developing people to see things the way you see it, I think there should be some progress at the end of the day.
So it sounds like you guys came from larger, more structured, seasoned companies, right? Obviously, the Army being one of the oldest, and Matt, you came from some big ones, and eventually became Cardinal Health, which is a huge organization as well, right? And so, is it that our industry or your industry and your businesses experience more turnover, or is it that you just feel it more because you're a smaller business and it's more important, and like Matt, you said, you're the one setting the tone and setting the culture, and so when someone doesn't fit that, it impacts you more than if someone had left your organization before, right?
Yeah, I mean, several things go into that. First off, just to comment on what Sean had to say there. Sean, I thought you were more patient than anyone I had ever seen with how you built the business, because I was like, shit, I want, I see numbers and we got to go hit it, and I was from a company that had some structure to it and also had the right people. I mean, anything we threw out there, we would just find a way to go and do, right, and achieve. Like we just made it happen, and we had a collective group who all felt like that, and we would make it happen. That's kind of what I envisioned coming into the business. And then again, if you don't have the right people or you don't have that foundation set, it's just not going to work. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I think on that turnover piece, for a period of time, for a while, I mean, for several years, it with what you're saying there, Calvin, you feel it so much that sometimes it would paralyze me from acting, because you've got to rely so much on that core team. That's why a small business like this, we've got there's 7 of us within what I'll call our office, the office structure, the office setting, and then painters on top of that. We're at 7 now, but a couple of years ago we were at 5, and a couple of years before that we were at 3. I mean, you feel any loss of it. So I just found myself trying way harder and way more than I should for it to work with an individual, and I think that is, I know it's a huge mistake. You just, you can't do it, because you will certainly pay the price over a much longer time period than if you just take that hit right away. But I don't know, maybe in the painting business, maybe there's a little bit more turnover just because of some of the labor force. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, I do think if you've got the right culture and you're bringing the right type of people into that culture, I don't think it should be any different than any other business.
Yep. Sean, I know your business, you've had some people that have stayed with you for 4 or 5 years now, and then you've had some that if I remember one time, a guy didn't even make it past conference, right? And so, what do you think is the difference there, and what have you learned from that to do differently going forward?
And you're right. There's been some people who have been with me 4 or 5 years. There have been some that have been with me 4 or 5 minutes. And it's. And I've thought about this for a while. You begin to question your leadership style, and saying, well, hey, did I do something wrong, or did I not do something correctly? And whether we're painting, I think every business experiences it. I just think now that we're as business owners, we never had a chance to look at it from another set of lens, and I think we're seeing it now, and it's just an eye-opener. But I just think that you have to use all of your resources when you're screening and interviewing your personnel to see if this person is a good fit for your organization. You have to look at the intangibles, the tangible things that this person brings to the game. And but again, we use the resources, the assessment tools, we have other, personnel, from corporate to look at, and ask some questions. But, just like with anything, it's a crapshoot, and you don't know until you put that person in the seat and see how they adjust.
Absolutely. For me, it was coming from the Marine Corps and then another, larger entity. I always felt like I was a good leader, right? Like people would call me that. They'd say, "Oh, Calvin, you're a good leader," right? And then I got into my own small business, and all of a sudden, as Sean said, I questioned decision I was making because everything was going to shit, right? Like it was just losing people, a lot of turnover, a lot of bad decisions, and so, I think it's us growing as individuals as much as the people we're bringing on, right? And, how have each of you changed from your leadership styles to your process and internally as you run your business?
I've always thought that I was a very good leader, and but one thing that I have noticed is that my leadership style has to change for every personnel on my staff. What works with this individual may hurt the next person's feelings. So you got to be flexible. You have to be attentive and understanding that, look, you may have 5 people working with you, and there's going to be 6 different attitudes, or 6 different things that's going to, motivate them or rub them the wrong way. So you got to be flexible, and I've tried to be a better listener. I've been told by my team that, a couple people that, hey, I don't listen. I hear them, I listen because I don't execute, and I always tell them, I said, if this was the only thing that I had to worry about, things would be very simple. But, I'm always looking and thinking, 3 or 4 steps ahead, and I have to do that. Otherwise, you'll sink and drown. And so that's what I've tried to do a little bit different, is to listen and try to be a better boss, better leader than I am.
Absolutely. Matt, what about you? What's changed the most for you in just your personal leadership style?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's around, I've mentioned a couple things already, but, I've got a whole bag full of stuff that, I've had to develop. Because same thing, I mean, gosh, when you're coming out of the corporate environment, I felt great about my leadership ability. I felt like I had everything figured out. But when you're running a small business with a small group of people, it shines a light. Weakness will find you. I mean, it will shine through. And like I mentioned a little bit, it's I was probably too lenient, too empathetic. And when the buck stops with you, you own the business. You better demand accountability. I mean, people better produce, or you are the one who suffers. Other people don't suffer. I make sure everybody's taken care of. Nobody else suffers. It's me at the end of the day. I'm the only one who loses. So it just can't. And really, people want to be part of a winning organization. It's healthy for everybody to be held accountable. We all need it. I need it. All 3 of us need it, right? I mean, you need accountability to some extent to make you the best that you can be. And that's the thing I've been trying to do, and hopefully have gotten a lot better. It's really just I think there's a balance between maybe the way I used to lead and some of the other people who I know or were a part of their teams. I think there's maybe something in the middle where you can treat people well and you try to help people, but at the same time you got to be demanding and people got to deliver for you.
Absolutely. It's I think, Sean, you mentioned it, but situational leadership, right? Every situation is a little bit different, and in a small business, everything changes every day, so we have to change it every day, right? So.
It does, and there's a lot of great things that come with small business. I mean, Sean mentioned some at the beginning. I mean, the ability to do something for yourself, the ability to have that in your control, the flexibility, that this, having your own franchise business can bring, all great things. But again, you got to deliver for you. The company's got to deliver.
Sean, what's going to be the biggest thing that you work on over the next, couple quarters, rest of the 2021, personally, as a leader, to make sure that you're improving for your business, so your business can improve?
Yeah. So, here we are. I would hope that we're in the post or the 17th hole of the pandemic, and we had to relook things for a while. The business stagnant for a while. Things were, the whole country was at a pause, and you had to really step back and look and say, hey, what's going on? Do we need to shift left, shift right, keep moving forward, put a foot on the gas, and for a minute, I didn't do anything. I remember getting a call from corporate and saying, Sean, you're the only one in the region that's not doing anything right now. And these were my exact words. I said, hey, go in and develop or build a plaque, an award, and send it to me saying, one guy that's not doing anything during the pandemic. And I was okay with that, but that gave me some time to reassess on who we were, to see where the business was going to go. And now I have so much of work I can't even keep up. So now I'm ready to expand the team. I'm ready to grow. So I'm really got my foot on the gas right now, and trying to develop the team, but also grow the team and to expand. I think, I feel now is the time. Even though we're, the pandemic is still in the what we hope the late stages, there's a lot of momentum right now. And, for a minute, I really felt that, hey, maybe we chose the right profession, that we didn't suffer during the pandemic. There was an administrative pause, but, not to the point where it was, backbreaking or, devastating to the business. So if we were able to overcome that, I think we're in a good position. So I'm really ready to get to the next phase of the business, to grow this here, expand my horizon, and see where this thing, how far we can take it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Matt, I think I know your focus, but you want to tell us what your priorities are and what you're going to be working on as a leader and for your business over the next few months, rest of the year.
So I've got with everything that I've said here, it has led to the point where I feel great about my team. Love my core team right now. A lot of talent. So I think that the possibilities truly are endless. Our challenge is we have a tremendous amount of work. There's nothing we can't go out and get from a work standpoint. That's how I feel with the talent on both the production and sales side of our team. We have got to continue recruiting and developing painters. I mean, that is, it's so critical, and I think it's a real challenge right now. Certainly it is here in Cleveland, but I think it's everywhere. And it's not just painting. It's, all these small businesses are suffering for the lack of having enough people. I think there's a lot that goes into it that may be a topic for another happy hour, but it's, that's just the reality that we're dealing with right now. So we are getting really creative and really aggressive with how we're going after people. So that's first and foremost on my mind. The other thing is we have come such a long way on just how we are delivering for our customers, the whole customer experience, and I have an obsession about that now, and we've got to just continue to every job be thrilled with and have our customers thrilled with the work we're doing.
Absolutely. And part of what I think we're all focused on now as we have our offline conversations is the consistency and accountability, right? Is making sure that as things are good and as we have so many jobs that we don't know what to do with them, we're keeping our eyes on the things that matter, like customer experience and cultural development and accountability and all these things that a lot of times whenever things are going well, we get a little bit more passive about because life is good. So all things we can focus on over the next couple months for sure. So
there's some fundamentals that you just can never let out of your sight.
Awesome. And Sean, what's your NPS score average over the last few years?
We're averaging, let me see, last year I think we finished at maybe about a 90, 91%. Right now we're hovering at about 88, 80, 89. The goal is to sustain a 90% or greater. I know the company, overall corporate is about a 70%, but we shoot for 90%. My mindset has always been, and this is one of my secrets as it relates to marketing. We separate everything by 4 quarters like a game, because everybody understands, sports. Most people do. So my mindset is for the first 2 and 3 quarters of the game, we will focus on taking care of the customers and investing in customer support. We really focus on marketing, very much. Well, the 4th quarter of the game, word of mouth should supersede everything, and we shouldn't have a marketing expense. So that's kind of how we look at it. Say, focus on the first half of the game, the 4th quarter of the game, things are going to take care of itself.
Sure. And Matt, you have a NPS score to be proud of as well. What's your NPS score at right now?
Yeah, we're hovering in the low 80s, 81, 82 in that range, which again, I think the company goal, which I believe is a world-class goal of 70 on the NPS. Certainly our strive is to be higher than that, and we feel good, but certainly it's not the end. We want to be better, but I think we're in the low 80s there.
That's great, Matt. You and Sean both should be very proud of your NPS and really just the overall focus of customer service that you have in your business. With that, I'd like to thank you both for taking the time to visit with us this evening. It's great to see both of you grow and continue to excel in your business and really grow and support each other since training and since early on in your Sugar Pro franchise careers. So thank you both, and we look forward to talking to you soon.